A decade-long record of median home price increases is snapped. Real estate expert Rick Sadle with Keller Williams Realty and SadleRealEstate.com is with us. Hi there, Rick.
Hey, good morning.
Okay, what kind of February numbers are you seeing for U.S. housing prices?
We've been talking for a few months now that I expect home prices to be pretty essentially flat this year and for the coming year. Well, now it's official. Median home prices actually went down for the first time year over year across the U.S. in over a decade. Technically, they're down by 0.2%, which is, that's not a big amount, but they're still down basically since the last time prices started raising after the last crash. So we've had this incredible run up in prices the last year. So the fact that it's down is pretty big. Now, that does include prices being down by a few percent in, both coasts, especially in the more expensive markets, San Francisco, Seattle, things like that, and prices being up a little bit in the South and Midwest. So the market is kind of as expected, kind of staying right where it is, but it is technically down for the first time.
How about existing home sales versus new houses, new construction?
Well, we've been seeing a decline in the number of all sales over the last half of last year, but sales of existing homes saw their first uptick in February for the first time in over 6 months. So that's a good sign the market is stabilizing. Now, sales of new construction homes, those are still a little bit down, but that has a lot to do with builder confidence still being on the fence. They can't quite figure out where the market's going.
Mortgage rates, that's a moving target, and interest rates, but how is that affecting housing prices, do you think?
Yeah, moving target is an understatement. Honestly, mortgage rates are the biggest driving factor in our real estate sales right now, prices and number of sales. Because around April or May of last year, the Fed started raising the overnight lending rate, which in turn, started raising mortgage rates. That was all in an effort to control inflation. And that's why we saw declining home sales and the number of sales and prices the last half of last year. Well, like all things, as people started to get used to the idea of a 6% mortgage rate, sales started to pick up again last month. I suspect rates will settle down in the next year or so to 5 or 6% and probably stay there for a little while.
Interesting. Okay, so that's U.S. picture there as far as housing prices. What's happening here in the Portland metro, Rick?
Well, in Portland, we're faring a little bit better than some of the national stuff, especially those on our coast, like Seattle, San Francisco, like I mentioned. But we're definitely still following the trend of slowing sales and slowing price appreciation. So far, our prices are actually up a couple of percent versus last year, but that's mostly being driven by the total undersupply of houses that we have. We're actually starting to see some multiple offer situations again, not huge bidding wars over asking, but, 2 or 3 offers on a well-priced property. So all in all, our market is actually fairly stable.
I guess that's good news when you say stable. Is that considered good news for most of the housing industry?
I think so. We couldn't sustain what was happening the past few years, right? These giant price appreciations they just couldn't keep going. I think a couple of years of very moderate price appreciation and stable market is going to be good for everybody.
Great info. As always, Rick, thank you so much.
Thanks.
That's Rick Sadle, real estate expert with Keller Williams Realty and SadleRealEstate.com.